Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Los Angeles Public Library Creators in Residence Showcase. I'm Stacy Lieberman. I'm the president and CEO of the Library Foundation of Los Angeles, and we really want to thank you for being here to celebrate the work of our incredible creators for this third cohort, Ashley Walker and Tin Nguyen. They have been working diligently over the past 8 months, delving deeply into the dynamic collections and wide-ranging resources of the Los Angeles Public Library to bring them to life. And we are so excited to be here today for the culmination of their projects exploring food, fashion, and Los Angeles history and culture. Following an open call, Tin and Ashley were selected from a competitive pool of nearly 540 applicants, ranging from filmmakers and poets to cultural historians and composers and beyond. The applicants were widely reflective of the immense creative talent in our city and highlight how the library captures the imagination and serves so many across our diverse communities. For anyone interested in applying in the future, we expect the next call for our Creators in Residence go live in late summer of 2026. Creators in Residence is an ongoing program funded by the Library Foundation of Los Angeles with an endowment provided by the Lenore S. and Bernard A. Greenberg Fund, and we are very grateful for their generosity. We would also like to thank Converse for providing the footwear for Ashley's displays and for this event, and for many of us here today, including me. So thank you so much to Converse. The Library Foundation is a nonprofit organization dedicated to championing the vital work of the Los Angeles Public Library through fundraising, advocacy, and innovative programs. And this residency is an excellent example of our collaborative work together and the Foundation's ability to tap private support to help us invite and encourage more Angelenos to engage in the transformative work of the Los Angeles Public Library. I'd like to give a special thanks to all of our partners at the Los Angeles Public Library and to 2 dedicated colleagues who have helped guide the Creators in Residence program since its inception in 2022. The Library Foundation of Los Angeles Director of Special Projects, Todd LaRue, and Los Angeles Public Library Senior Librarian Christina Rice. At this time, please join me in welcoming Todd and Christina to the stage to introduce our first creator presentation. Thank you again so much for being here and enjoy the program. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Tin's residency. So during the course of her residency, Tin Nguyen has expanded on the library's renowned menu collection, exploring both iconic restaurants and those that have been lost over time, uncovering the histories of the people and communities behind them. We encourage you to view the library's social media account to view some of the surprising stories Tin highlighted over the past few months. You can also visit the second floor display Tin curated featuring menus from Little Tokyo, so that's up as you're heading to our rotunda. And there will be a larger display at the Pio Pico Koreatown branch featuring menus and stories from that neighborhood. And now, a little bit about Tin.
Tin Nguyen is a food writer focused on the intersections of food and culture, blending a journalist's depth with an author's storytelling skills. She's a former senior food writer at LA Weekly and has written for the LA Times and Eater. She's co-author of The Choi of Cooking and LA Sun with Chef Roy Choi, as well as My Cambodia with Night Yoon. A longtime Angeleno and an instructor at USC's Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism, Nguyen works to highlight how food tells the story of Los Angeles, its neighborhoods, traditions, and migrations.
So this afternoon, Tin is going to be in conversation with Monica Lee, a restaurateur who opened the beloved Beverly Soon Tofu in 1986. It was the first restaurant of its kind in Los Angeles, a pioneering serving Soon Tofu stew to residents and visitors of Koreatown for over 30 years. She is the author of Son Mat, Recipes and Flavors of Korean Home Cooking, which was co-authored by our creator, Tin. So please welcome to the stage Tin Nguyen and Monica Lee.
Hello. Oh, I was not expecting that. Hi, thanks everybody for coming through. And shout out to Converse as well. Thank you for the shoes. Monica, thank you so much for joining me to have this conversation. I don't know how many people have gone to her restaurant. Yep. Yeah. Maybe we can start actually. We'll start out by talking a little bit about the restaurant first. I know Monica says she's a little nervous, but she's going to do great. So she's going to be fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
She doesn't trust her English, but I think she's going to be great. So why don't we start out by talking about the restaurant. For anybody who's didn't have the great, immense pleasure of going to Beverly Soon Tofu, which is one of my most favorite restaurants and one that I was most sad about closing in the recent years. Can you tell us a little bit about Beverly Soon Tofu? You opened in 1986, is that right?
Right. Yes.
Why did you, what was the specialty? Why did you want to
was
open this
tofu.
restaurant?
Tofu, and I opened 1986, June 25th. And I choose tofu because the tofu is a very good ingredient. So, and also is a good memory from the Korea.
Right.
Yeah, usually, a lot of people, we enjoy tofu almost every day.
Almost every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the tofu, it was a tofu stew, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you went to the restaurant, you probably have very vivid memories of ordering the stew, and it would come to you at the table just boiling. Like it was, like you
Yeah,
made
that's
sure it was
my
boiling.
concept. Uh-huh.
Can you talk a little bit more about that idea of making sure that it was boiling by the time it reached you at the table?
Yes, because we use a ceramic bowl, and the sun tofu, it has to be boiling, so until eating finish. It's good taste.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to say good afternoon.
Oh. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to boiling. That's not a bad segue, actually, because it was boiling. It was so hot. They literally would drop an egg into it and it would cook.
Yeah.
So that's how hot it was.
Yeah, 210 degree.
Yeah. And it was so good. Like when you talk about how cold it is right now, it was really great. Perfect weather for that right now. When you opened, what was on your original menu? What did you want to serve originally?
I choose four menu first because the ingredient, so combination like meat, oyster, baby crumb, and second one is seafood. If they don't like the meat, green mussel, oyster, shrimp, baby crumb, and also next kimchi with the meat or without the meat. And also people, they don't like meat or seafood. They like to enjoy only tofu taste, just seaweed tofu.
So just-
Tofu only with put it, seaweed.
Right. So just seaweed and tofu.
Yeah.
And it was a stew, and you would serve it with rice. Is that right?
Yeah, with rice and three kinds of kimchi.
Okay. 3 kinds of kimchi.
Yeah, and
What
the
3
rice.
kinds? What kind of kimchi?
Napa kimchi and radish and then water kimchi. Yeah,
Okay.
because sundubu is very hot, so just cool down. But
Right.
the water kimchi is not hot, very mild.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And also spicy level is 4.
4 spicy levels.
Yeah. So
Okay. So what were the spicy levels?
hot, medium, mild, and non-spicy.
Non-spicy.
Yeah.
All right. What was the spicy level that most people got?
Medium.
Medium.
Yeah.
But what did you prefer?
Extra hot.
Extra,
It's more tasty.
extra hot or taste?
Yeah.
So one of the things that, we worked on her amazing cookbook together, and one thing that you told me when we were working on it was that in the very beginning you had a very unique menu, which is right here.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see it. I'll hold it up. Can you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah. Okay, this one, it was 1986 until maybe 10 months. 10 months for on the
this.
table, because I ordered to make one of the artists from Korea, and then I ordered 15 menu, but first time I didn't know, it was disappear. So 1 week later, 10, 1 month later, 8. Yeah, so we didn't know, we didn't figure out, because at the time it was busy, and we couldn't pay attention. And also, the people, they bring the big bag and then they put it inside when we were busy. So about few months later, this one left only 3. So I decided, I better keep it. So I took this menu to my home, and after a few years later, I moved my house, and it was too broken. It was so, yeah. And then finally, I keep it. So when the Tian, she told us to donate this to library, and I was a little bit, yeah. But my 2 daughters said, Mommy, you think about a few days and then tell us, so I can tell to the Tian. So maybe 2-3 days later, I decide what I can decide. Okay, even I keep this one to my room or my garage, it doesn't mean, so okay, maybe I can share with a lot of people. So maybe I will be happy and satisfied. That's why, I donate. And also my cookbook too. A lot of my steady customer, when I close the restaurant, they cry. And
Me too, that was me.
and everybody asking, and then like 3 block, 4 block, the lineup, and like 1 o'clock, the order finished because I can't keep it. Yeah, a lot of people, they order only one, not only one, like 10 to go. And some people, they coming from Chicago or San Francisco or over. So it was so little bit sad, but I recognize the people, my customer, they like my food, and also they love me. So maybe we can share. So when the book company, the people, they come to offer writing cookbook, how I can write yeah, I don't speak English well, and also it's hard to, I never have experience for the writing the book. But my two daughters, they encourage me, Mommy, we can help. So during the COVID time, the Tian
Yeah.
with us, we do the Zoom every week. Every week we talk about hour or 1.5 hour, and then it takes about 2 years to make my cookbook. So the concept is the same as
The
like
menu
a
here.
pumpkin menu, like
You wanna-
sharing my old recipe. So I open old recipe from Beverly tofu, even the side dishes and other Korean food for the my customer or people, so I can share. So
And when we were working on the book, that was when you brought this out, and I just thought that was just an amazing. I mean, how many menus do you see at restaurants that's printed on a gourd, like, right? I mean, when I was looking through the collection, I was just so struck by the similarities and differences between menus over time for sure, but this gourd, you just don't see that many physical, like menus printed on physical objects, like, yeah, structures. And so you told me that this gourd kind of matched the interior. Like,
Yes.
Again, if anybody remembers going to Beverly Soon Tofu, you probably remember the inside was like a countryside. That was sort of the aesthetic,
All
right?
wood.
Old wood, yeah. And so this gourd kind of came from that idea of keeping the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Right.
So in Korea, did you have, were there other uses for gourds in Korea as well that you got the idea from, or this is your original idea? Just your idea?
My idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
In
specifically said-
Korea, they don't make menu like this. Only the paper.
Only paper. So
Yeah,
this is just you.
My all, yeah. So this one open, but it's broken a little bit. Open, and then usually like this, and then candle. So like a long time ago, old town, or the no electricity. The lot of old town has every house they have a pumpkin tree. So a lot of people they use this for the lamp. Yeah, but it's hard during the dry. It's gonna be a break.
Yeah, do you know the process of how the artist, just to back up, so you reached out to somebody in Korea to do this for you?
Yeah,
And you said,
yeah. He was an artist.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and how long did it take him to make, how many were made? You had 15?
15, but it takes about 2 months.
So it took 2 months.
Yeah, it was too hard because this cutting
Yeah,
is very difficult because when he cut it, it's broken.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So it takes about, I think, 2 months. 2 months. But when I received this, I was so excited and very, very satisfied. Just like I received the all award. Yeah.
And then can you say a little bit about what's actually painted onto the menu here? What is that?
Yeah, like a sun tofu. Like this is menu in Korean letter, and this is sundubu. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like a spicy level.
Spice levels?
At the time, I didn't have ABC license, so I can sell. So just the 7 or Coke.
Right, so you don't have an alcohol license.
Simple.
Yeah. Yeah, the only English on this menu is the 7-Up and the Coke.
Yeah.
So you could get your drinks if you didn't speak or read Korean. You also had a printed menu as well, is that
Yeah,
right?
same.
At the
Same time.
At the same
yeah.
time. But you said mostly people.
Yeah, this is for the interior.
Right.
Yeah, but it was so effective. So when the customer they come, oh, what is this? And
Yeah.
then they open it. What's inside?
Right.
Yeah,
And then they stole it.
yeah, I know. But at the time, I don't have a CCTV.
Yeah.
No
CCTV.
camera.
Yeah, right, right. Did you think about getting more made, or after that 6 months
No,
you
he
decided?
retired, and then
Right.
it's hard to find like dry pumpkins.
Right, because it is a very specific size, right?
Yeah,
Like in order
it's
for
all
what you need.
different. It was 15 menu was all different shape and size.
That
Yeah,
makes sense, right?
yeah.
Just because, yeah.
That's why I like better. Yeah,
You like that they're all different.
all different. Yeah, all the table.
Right.
Yeah.
So after they were all gone, you just had printed menus.
Yes.
And did you have an idea for what those printed menus would look like?
It was a little bit like small, but I put everything inside, and also like every year, every other year, I added a different ingredient.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that because as we go to restaurants all the time and we notice new dishes, and sometimes we notice dishes off the menu. Like, how did you decide what to add?
I think about the steady customer. Like if the customer, like I had every day he comes like 4 o'clock.
Oh, a specific customer.
Yeah. And then he didn't skip, one day because he like tofu, but he never changed the menu. I remember he always order oyster only.
Okay.
It was not here, but he like oyster. Yeah. So I think I thought it, sometimes, the people coming once a week or every day coming or twice a week, I had only 4 menu. So sometimes little bit they wanna had a new menu for choice. So I selected only one ad each time.
So each time, like each year, or okay.
Year or other year, if I have an idea, so I put it the squid, soybean sprout, and vegetable.
Oh, it's a different types of
And then
sundubu.
mushroom only, mushroom beef, or like seafood, whatever. Whatever later, I make 4 menu start, but I just decide to select customer, whatever you like
they
it. Maybe you can tell to waitress, I want to put it inside, but not over 4, less than 4 ingredients.
Oh, I see. So you can only cap in terms of if you wanted to customize your sundubu. You said you can't deal with more than 4 ingredients.
Yeah, because if sometimes they want to put it like 10. How I can put it the tofu, and also taste is not good. Yeah.
So the customer, you listen to the customer, but you didn't always.
Yeah. We ask.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
ask.
Right.
And then I make it right away. Even the paper, like order sheet doesn't come to kitchen, I don't open the gas
I see.
because of the taste.
So you're making everything to order.
Not ready-made. It was my concept.
Because I think at a lot of other restaurants, before you opened your restaurant, if you wanted sundubu, you probably got it from one big pot. It was basically only one type of sundubu. You couldn't really customize your toppings or your fillings, and it would just kind of scoop it out of the pot and give you the bowl. And I think what Monica did, and I think what a lot of restaurants have done since then, is to allow you to, one, customize what kind of fillings you have. Although I guess some restaurants, maybe they'll let you do more than 4, but you had very specific idea of the fillings that customers can customize, and then nowadays people will make it to order individually as opposed to taking it out of one big pot for everybody, which it does make a difference in the flavor.
Yeah, even the takeout menu, takeout order, if they like a customer order like 2, I don't use it. I use we said tukbegi, ceramic bowl, just the exact amount, and then same procedure, because I don't want to change the taste.
Right.
Yeah. So it was so hard. My old employee always say, oh, she's crazy. Like this. Yeah. Yeah. But it was my concept, and that's my kind of personality.
Your personality, yeah. I mean, I think just from the way you had such a specific vision for your restaurant, and then that went as far as even the menus. I feel like that really did come across. I mean, I think it came across to everybody who ate your food for sure, and I think anybody who reads about it now, I think that comes across as well. So I want to thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
Yeah.
And thank you for this menu. I mean, it's the only one that survived those 10 months, the brief but beautiful moment when these boards were on the table. So thank you so much, Monica.
Yeah,
I think it
and
means a lot.
also thank you for my cookbook.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Thank you.
thank you
all
so
for-
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Tin and Monica, for sharing your stories with us, and especially for the incredible donation of this very special gourd-shaped menu to the library's collection. We will be sure to honor your wish of sharing it with many people long into the future. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And you can, after the program, we'll have it on display in the courtyard so you can take a closer look. And they'll be signing and copies of their book they'll have for sale as well. So be sure to go visit them as part of our reception immediately after the program. So for our second creator in residence, Ashley Walker has reimagined the library archives as fashion pieces that honor migration, music, architecture, activism, and the communities that shaped the city. Threads of Los Angeles consists of 6 pieces of wearable art that are now on display right here at Central Library, just 1 floor below us, outside the business department. And these displays will be here for about 2 weeks, and then they're traveling to branch libraries across the city that were chosen for their geographical relevance to the stories that you're going to be hearing more about. And only today we have a special limited edition run of posters that we'll be handing out, and he'll be signing after the program as well.
So guiding today's conversation with Ashley is Mimi Brown, an Emmy-nominated journalist whose voice reaches millions every morning. She's the news contributor for The Breakfast Club, a national anchor for iHeartMedia's Black Information Network, and the creator of To Altadena with Love. A proud Howard University alum, she's reported for NBC, ABC, BET, and Fox, and is known for her warmth, clarity, and commitment to community-centered storytelling.
And Ashley Walker is a fashion designer, entrepreneur, and a true Angelino. He's the founder of Leimert Park Threads, which transforms cultural history into wearable art, and a creative force whose work spans brands like Levi's, Nike, Forever 21, and even the city of Los Angeles. So now please help welcome Mimi Brown and Ashley Walker.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good, good, good. Okay, so before we get started, we have a short video that we want to show you. It'll explain more of the backdrop behind Ashley's designs and kind of give you a guide for our conversation today.
Wealth of knowledge to explore. In 2022, it started a creators in residency program that uses historical archives, manuscripts, and photographs to inspire original projects for public engagement. Ashley, you've collaborated with big brands we hear like Forever 21 and Savage Fenty. You're creating a fashion line inspired by the library collection. Tell us more.
For many longtime Angelinos, the sights and smells of April 29, 1992 are still easily conjured. Smoke spread across LA as buildings were set on fire. Images of looting filled television screens. And less visible, the hurt expressed through peaceful protest.
You hear the verdicts and you hear the one not guilty after another. I was angry. There's no other way for me to say it. I was just furious at the justice system.
People stayed up late, but they also got up early because their community was the entertainment center of town. Certainly thriving, if not prosperous. Everybody knew everybody else.
That was the place to go to see your friends. But you walked up and down Central to see your friends and to see what other people were doing, and you wanted to be with them.
When Americans turned on their TVs in the early 1990s, one contentious issue was hard to miss: immigration.
Is immigration good for America?
The federal government won't stop them at the border.
You spend $5.5 billion a year to support them.
There's a right way and there's a wrong way.
At the time, there were around 5 million undocumented immigrants in the U.S. And most Americans saw immigrants as a burden on the country, taking jobs, housing, and healthcare, and thought immigration as a whole should be decreased.
Our country is invaded by immigrants who are like cancer cells.
Paul Revere Williams was the first African American to join the American Institute of Architects. Born in 1894 and orphaned at the age of 4, he made his way through life because of extraordinary talent, artistic flair, charm, hard work, and fierce determination. He had faith in God and a foster mother who pushed him toward success and encouraged his dreams.
Well, I think he loved art from the time he was a child. In elementary school, he drew everything, and the teachers from those early days told him he would never succeed.
For many young kids, and even myself, we probably can name 10 brands off our top of our mind, but we can't name 10 local fruits or vegetables or fungi that grow around our community. And those are one of the simplest ways in which we have become more disconnected with ecological knowledge.
Our current disconnect comes from the fact that most of us live places where we don't see where food is grown. So we have no concept or understanding of how food is grown, where it comes from, why it's important.
Los Angeles, 1942. A city thrown into a state of panic following the Japanese attack at Pearl Harbor.
There was a widespread understanding that the West Coast could be next. The front lines could be right there at their shores.
As tension mounts, bigotry and hatred rise to the surface, and young Mexican Americans become public enemy number one.
The war wasn't just being fought overseas. Being different was not permissible.
Wow. Let's give it a moment, right? Amazing video. So Ashley, before we get started, as everyone's about to fall in love with your story like I have, what do you want us to know about you right off the bat? What's your why for this?
First of all, thank you, Mimi, for being here today. I really appreciate it. And my why really is, I'd say for people to understand the through line between then and now, and to be able to see the essence of the historic events that have happened, especially in the clothing downstairs, and be able to understand that history repeats itself if we don't pay attention to it and do something different.
Mm-hmm. How did you, growing up in South Central in Leimert Park, influence your designs?
So my grandfather owned a cleaners on King Boulevard called Jimmy's Cleaners, and I'd say that was a huge part of my existence as a young person, seeing him as an entrepreneur and in our community, working with people in our community, and especially with the 90s riots. And I was just 8 at the time, but I'd say I remember feeling as though I was helping him protect, his business. And so I'd say that between that and living in Leimert Park and seeing the changes that have gone on in the community, it's definitely given me an opportunity to really understand our people more. Going from Los Angeles to Howard University in DC and New York, has given me the opportunity to see people that I connect with from coast to coast. And I think that bringing it back here and being able to kind of interpret my art and my fashion and all those experiences really hopefully gives people the essence of like where I come from.
Where you come from. I love that. And bringing it back here, the Zoot Suits riots, it remains one of LA's most charged moments. For those who don't know, can you explain what that moment in time was like?
Yeah, I think similar to any of the uprisings, from the Watts uprisings to the Rodney King riots, the Zoot Suit riots is a moment when disenfranchised minorities were targeted in some way because they were different. And I think that the moment of the Zoot Suit riots where the Mexican Americans were basically attacked for looking cool, and it was deemed un-American to use such fabric for wide leg pants and big coats and stuff like that during that time, and it wasn't really understood that they were just trying to be who they are, and so I think that the Zoot Suit riots is one of those pivotal moments where it's like, hey, like, these are people too, and so understanding understanding that we have more in common than we have differences. Yeah.
What aspects of that era did you want to take from you to include in your designs?
So I definitely wanted to take the style, of course, integrate the style of the wide leg pants and the long coat, and the flamboyant fabrics and things like that to really express the time. And as you mentioned, as you were looking at it, it definitely has like a LA vibe.
Yes.
And even though the Zoot Suit era was in Los Angeles was inspired by the cultural moments that were happening on the East Coast, I would say that LA was able to kind of interpret it in our own way so that it became ours.
Yeah. So as you went back and you were designing this, were there specific moments, newspaper articles, like what did you see that inspired you to want to create from that moment in time?
I think that it was just feeling connected to being different, you know, being a minority in this nation, and I think that being able to connect with the problems of those people and knowing that they were just trying to be fly and hang out, but oftentimes it could have been looked at as un-American or just being, as the guy said at the end, just like being different wasn't acceptable. So just connecting with that.
Yeah. You know, I learned something just watching that video because as we spoke, when you think of Zoot Suits and you think of wide legs, you think of Harlem, you think of the Harlem Renaissance. I had no idea that happened or that, you know, that moment took place in LA. So you're already influencing change by, you know, with your design right there.
Definitely. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so moving to the next topic, let's talk about Paul Williams. He shaped the face of Los Angeles, but many really don't realize just how much. And for those who don't know, who is Paul Williams?
Yeah, so Paul Williams was a revolutionary black architect here in Los Angeles. He's built some or designed some of LA's most iconic homes and even commercial businesses, I'd say. And Paul Williams, as mentioned in the video, was someone who was very determined, and regardless of the racial walls that were put up against him, he knew what he wanted to do in life. And I connected with that moment because of things like that, you know, just kind of keeping a tunnel vision on your ideas and your inspirations and being able to accomplish them regardless of the challenges that you face.
That seems such a hard thing to do, though, to put, like, mirror your designs after architect. Like, so how did you do that with, you know, elements like building lines, blueprints, you know, all of those things? How did you put that into your designs? Show us, teach us, tell us something.
So for Paul Williams specifically, the design that I really liked of his actually isn't in Los Angeles, it's in Vegas.
Okay.
And so there's a building that is kind of now used as like the visitor center for a neon sign museum. And so when you're downstairs and seeing the Paul Williams exhibit, or the Paul Williams portion of the exhibit, you're able to see a graphic image of that building screen printed on the pants, actually. And so I took the idea of this building, which had lots of arches and curved lines, which was a signature of Paul Williams, and I used that to incorporate into the hood itself, and so kind of created this kind of double hood design that hopefully, you know, expresses that building.
Yeah, definitely. The structure of that hoodie within itself.
Exactly, yeah.
I love that. And then Jazz at Central Avenue. Talk to us about that, because for people who don't know, Central Avenue is a street here in Los Angeles, but what did it look like in the 1930s?
That's a great question. It looked completely different. But I'd say that it was full of life. You know, it was full of culture and fashion and music and pride and thriving businesses that served their communities and served as a place where people of the time and in the neighborhood could go to not only talk and hang out with their friends, but also hear music from people like Josephine Baker and Billie Holiday and the jazz greats of the time as well. And I think just a place where people could experience all things cultural, because at the time I think that there was a lot of people that were also coming from the East Coast, and so it was a place where people could just have fun, and there wasn't a lot of, I'd say a lot of outside influences. It seemed like, from my research, it seemed like a very insulated kind of area where people, if you knew, you knew.
Yeah. How did that impact your design when you were, and I also have a second question because you said doing your research, it must have taken a lot of research to learn, all about that time during that time period. How did what you learned inspire you and inspire your designs?
I think that it inspired me because the 1930s had a very specific kind of style, and so I tried to capture that in the dress that I designed for the Central Avenue portion. And although I added some aspects that I felt kind of modernized it a little bit, and of course the Converse sneakers that she's wearing, and those are customized and blinged out. And I try my best to bring it to now while keeping true to the style of the time.
Yeah. So a little bit of then and now.
Exactly.
In one piece.
Yeah, I think the silhouette is very much then, but some of the the accents on the dress and the embellishments on the shoes and the dress and the headpiece are the now part.
We're only talking about, 3 of the exhibits, but there's a total of 6. And I guess my question for you too is, Ashley, when you decided to, showcase these designs, what was your process like? What did you decide, and how did you decide on these specific ones?
I think it was just about feeling a connection to each moment in some way. Like I mentioned, the 92 riots and the connection to my grandfather. Paul Williams, I was really connected to his dedication to his craft. And Zoot Suit, of course, the style was off the hook. And I think that, like Jazz with Central Avenue, I think that it's so important for us to have neighborhoods that we can go to for those types of cultural moments. And that's why I connect with Leimert Park so much. Not only did I grow up there, but it also serves as like a place where people can go and hang out and experience culture of the neighborhood and of the people. And so I think neighborhoods like that are important, kind of like an oasis.
Yeah. And speaking of Leimert Park, how has that area changed over time as well?
Yeah, I think it's definitely, it's still changing. Yeah. It's just right in the midst of changing right now. And I think that has changed a little bit for the better, a little bit for the worse, but I think that there are some businesses that are popping up, some businesses have closed, and so it's hard to say, to be honest. I think that it's kind of in its transition right now, and so I think that there's still a lot to see of what it could be.
And so you've seen the different transitions that the neighborhood is taking shape. What part of it inspired you the most? What part of the transition of Leimert Park from then to now sticks out to you and that you wanted to reflect in your designs?
Yeah, I think the resilience. I think the resilience of the people. I say that one thing that holds true in Leimert Park is the drum circle. Yes. So the drum circle is something that has been there and that they've tried to get rid of, and that won't leave as long as people stand strong on it. And so I think that the resilience of maintaining the culture of the neighborhood and of the area and of the people.
Yeah. And I have to ask this question because I'm a Howard University alum. Ashley is a Howard University alum, and this is one of Ashley's designs that I'm wearing right now. I have to ask how Howard shaped your creativity, your design. When you were at Howard and you were walking the yard, did you know that this is what you wanted to do coming from Los Angeles to Howard University?
Yeah, I did. I think that between seeing the fashionable students at Howard like yourself and being inspired by cities like New York and movies like School Days and directors like Spike Lee really encouraged me not only to go to Howard, but gave me or rather planted the seed for me to know what to look for as far as style and fashion and culture. And the understanding that we really create that stuff, we do. Because a lot of it is from maybe not having the money to wear that fly thing, but somehow making it work with what we had. And so being able to express our style with, what was in our closet or what we were able to afford, or the Maryland thrift stores.
Yeah, very, exactly. And just going to Howard every day was like a fashion show, right?
Definitely.
I was like, oh, I got to dress up again to go to class? Like, can we just put some sweats and a shirt on?
A fashion show and a concert, right? Yeah.
Every single day. They never miss an opportunity. How do you hope Angelenos, especially young people, experience their own history when they interact with your designs?
I just hope that they understand, or at least I'm hoping to spark some inspiration to research what the subject matters are, to utilize the library to find different resources that can tell them more about these subjects, whether they like looking at videos or photographs or reading books. A lot of the research I did was through vertical files, which is basically like newspaper clippings and magazines and zines from the time. And so being able to have access to that stuff has been invaluable in figuring out where a lot of the inspiration for these moments in history came from, and for me to really get a deeper understanding of the impetus of it all. So I want people to be able to do what I did, which is kind of see something and be like, hey, I want to know more about that, and utilize the library to do so.
I love that. And what's next for you, Ashley, for Threads of LA, for Leimert Park Threads, as you evolve, as you continue to merge your heritage and community together? What can we look forward to?
I think that you can look forward to more HBCU collections and expansion of that. Definitely looking to get more licenses for HBCUs across the U.S. so that we can continue to utilize our history to dress our people and people inspired by the culture.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. This has been such an amazing conversation. Did everyone learn something? Because I know I learned something today, right? Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
So again, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We do invite you to come out to the courtyard. So Nuen and Monica will be there signing their books. We'll have the gourd on display so you can see it up close and personal. Ashley is going to be one floor below us in front of our business and economics department with all six of his designs. If you haven't gone down yet, be prepared. They are absolutely stunning. We'll have the free posters down there that we're giving out today. And then I think some of your merchandise is going to be for sale, some of your Leimert Park threads in the courtyard. So we invite you now to join us out there and enjoy the work of both of our creators. Thank you so much.